I know I've been not keeping up to date with the building of the engine block, but this is where we have got to at the moment. I've got most of the components fitted to the engine itself now. You can see that I've got the side casing on here. I haven't put the alternator on yet. I haven't put the starter motor in yet. I did put the starter motor in to do the oil pressure test. However, the starter motor, it managed to do the oil pressure test, but it was very, very clear it was struggling, and I know that when it's fighting against an engine with compression, it's not going to work, so I need to replace the starter motor. So I took that out simply because I wanted it a bit lighter when I was manhandling that engine. So the oil pressure test went well. I've taken the oil filter back off, and we've now got the stage where I'm ready to put the engine into the frame. So what I've done is I've laid it on its side on the bench. I've got a piece of carpet tile here just to protect the other side of the engine, and I've got a small block of wood to keep the engine at the level that I want to allow me to put the engine in the frame. And it's the classic one where you put the frame over the engine, and it is relatively straightforward. The difficulty, well, I suppose the funny thing with this engine is that once the engine's in the frame, you can't take the cam cover off. So any work that you want to do on the head, you need to make sure you do it before you put the engine in the frame. Yes, you can adjust the tappets through those little holes, but if you want to do any checks for how the oil's flowing into the cam journals and the likes, you need to do that before you put the engine in the frame. The other thing that I've done is I've taken out the sump plug, and I've also taken out the bolt here. All of the other bolts that hold the oil pan on are slightly recessed from the bottom of this pad, except for this one, and this one sticks out a little bit, and so does this one here, and I don't want it to scuff my nicely newly painted frame. So I've taken both of those bolts out, and this is the frame itself, so it's been sent away to be blasted and painted, and I've picked it up like this. I've taken off all the other bolts and all the lugs, and then I just loaded it over the top of the engine. What I did was I tried this a couple of times before I sent the frame away for painting, and the reason I did that was because I knew that I would scuff it a couple of times, and I was going to wrap the frame rails with tape and some foam, but that actually makes it harder in some cases to get the frame over the engine. So what I did is I wanted to have a couple of dry runs to make sure I knew how I was going to handle the frame and how I was going to fit it over the engine. Then I sent the frame away to get painted, and then I lowered it over the engine like this, and I just put in the three long bolts just to hold it in place and make sure that it was secure. At this point in time, this is when I'll start to protect the frame rails as I start to move the frame, and then get the bike in a more normal position. And this is also a good time to put in the center stand and the center stand spring. It was surprisingly easy compared to other bikes that I've had to work on, but I've got a nice new bracket and a nice new spring on that. And so I'll use the center stand obviously to support the frame, and then I'll support the front of the bike when I'm working on the front forks and the yokes, and that'll be the next video.